Interesting. So coming back to you, Rinsola, I know you've been at the forefront of putting youth in governance. In fact, you've been in governance for quite some time. You represent the young people that had that opportunity. So tell us, why did you leave APC?
Well, I was hoping we wouldn't have to revisit that, but since we're here, we might as well talk about it. As you rightly noted, I've always stood for youth inclusion and women inclusion, of course, and for reforms in the democratic space. And during the struggle for the Not Too Young to Run bill to be passed, to be made into law, I was also very active during that period, trying to see to it that young Nigerians were able to achieve a critical mass and secure inclusion for the entire generation, not just this one, but of course generations to come. And when I indicated interest in running for office, I was told point blank that you know, people like me should probably even be considering running for councillorship. And then of course there were the personal references to my father and talking about how he's been dead for a very long time. And then I was told that I didn't have what it took to run. And then, of course, I was told that if I dared to challenge those who were telling me not to, there will be dire consequences. And for me, I draw a lot of strength from my dad. He gave up his life fighting for this democracy. And this was during the military era. So if my father could stand up and challenge the military era, then who am I to say that I'm afraid to fight for what I believe in a democratic dispensation? I believe strongly that democratic institutions should not be used to enable dictatorship or tyranny of any form. And I felt as young people, if we continue to just sit and abide by the rules that are handed down and then be told, go up and queue until it's your turn, that turn may never actually come. I don't want to be 62 still lobbying for a seat in the State House. That's the norm, that's what they expect us to do. And we're not going to take our rightful place in the polity of this nation for as long as we're afraid to do the needful. So I stood up and I said I was going to leave. And I consulted very widely and my people told me to go ahead. So for that, I have no regrets whatsoever. And I think I should make it clear that it was just at that time, I didn't see any other option. And thankfully, I believe the events following my departure from the party have actually proven that I had a reason to leave. I had a very, very, very valid reason to leave. And then, of course, looking at my people, another reason I said I was going to do this was because I've been working at the National Assembly. I just resigned December 31st as an aide to the Speaker. So I know, I'm very familiar with the process. I know that the duties of legislators are essentially in three parts. They make laws, they perform oversight functions. That's to ensure that national resources are spent as allocated and that, you know, national resources are actually spent on things that matter to the people. And then the third part, of course, is attracting federal presence to the constituency. In Abeokuta North, Obafemi Owode and Odeda local governments of Ogun State, which make up the constituency that I'm running to represent, you can actually see that the government presence there is very little, especially in Obafemi Owode and Abeokuta North. State, federal, there is nothing going on. Obafemi Owode and Odeda are largely agrarian communities, agriculture, yet water is a huge problem. There is no water for my people to work with. There are no roads.
So what do you intend to do about that? Okay. Because providing water is not your responsibility.
Yeah, exactly, I know. But it's like when you have priorities, I believe we have sacrificed the welfare of our people at the altar of showbiz. We invest in things that do not actually have an impact on the lives of the people. We have a lot of people in rural communities. I was at Alabata. It's one of the villages in Odeda local government, and there is no health center in that area. People have to travel all the way to Odeda to get to a hospital. The roads are terrible. It's within one local government, but you could spend up to an hour on the road.
What will you do if you are voted as a member of the Federal House
As the federal legislator representing Abeokuta North, Odeda and Obafemi Owode, I will see to it that federal attention is drawn to those infrastructural deficits that fall under the purview of the federal government. Take the Adato Odeda Road, for instance. It's a federal road. It's very little. The population density in that area is very high. This is a road that needs to be worked on. Take other issues. Our people, agriculture, the office can actually find a way to partner with development agencies, partner with agencies like IAGA and other affiliated agencies to help train my people with the skills that they need to excel at what they're doing. It's very difficult. And of course, constituency projects, I've been hammering on representative...
I think we will come to constituency project, but let's go back to Najibullah. Do you think you will win this election?
Certainly.
Why?
Because I've been running my campaign for over a year now, and I've been going to the grassroots. My campaign has been local all the while. It's been from ward to ward. I had my consultations first before they opened the space for campaign. And then now, you know, we're going out in mass to call for support. And yes, you know, the youths have a larger population and the youths are with me. My dad is a politician as well, and we have garnered support from the older folks as well. They think it's time to change, it's time to bring youth into politics.
Interesting. Sorry to cut you short. Fali and I were just talking earlier, and we said you guys are going to probably, if you win your elections, you'll be in the Federal House of Representatives. Mm-hmm. What's your position on restructuring?
Well, restructuring, I think...
Or what does restructuring mean to you?
Well, for me, actually, I think it's a matter of interest. You know, different parts of the country that have different interests. Some people feel marginalized. Some people feel they're not, the federal attention in their area is not enough. So for me, I mean, we as Northerners, or maybe let's say my own constituency, we are not ready for restructuring yet.
Okay, restructuring.
Well, I think restructuring is a broad term, and there are elements to it that politicians are usually not very particular about. When you talk about restructuring, you're referring to devolution of powers. You're referring to reviewing the revenue allocation formula, probably upwards or downwards, depending on what side of the fence you're standing on. But I believe that the revenue allocation formula should be reviewed upwards in favor of states. You're talking about local government autonomy. I was making reference to developmental issues in my area, and a key factor, one of the key reasons why things are the way they are is because local governments are not empowered to do the needful. So as an elected representative, I will be supporting the call for local government autonomy. If someone else sponsors that bill before I do, it's a constitutional amendment bill, I will give my full support to it, but it's a bill that I actually intend to sponsor. We're talking about devolution of powers, take security for instance, although that's another issue that it depends on what side of the fence you're on. Devolution, for instance, could take to state police, the issue of state police. We could look at things like mines and minerals, natural resources. So when we're referring to restructuring, these are all the things that we're referring to. It's a lot of things. So I think that there's a need to be very specific about what we want.
An important issue, sorry to cut you, Rinsola. Actually, I'll start with you, Najib, is the cost of election. You're running on a major political party. Yeah. How are you dealing with funding, or do you have sponsors?
Not really, but yeah, my friends organized a fundraising dinner for me, and they contributed a good amount of money for me, but I've been funding
Your
from my
friends
purse.
must be really rich.
What about you, Rinsola?
Well, fundraising has been quite challenging. I've exploited my savings a number of times since this whole journey began, and people kind of don't want to understand that you're young or you're female. They want what they want right now. Mm-hmm. So it's been, I've had the support of friends, of mentors, family, associates, and of course total strangers that I've never even met, who maybe heard me somewhere or saw something I wrote or heard about me from someone and decided to chip in. But you know, it's an uphill task for young people, and we really do need all the support we can get. It's not enough to say young people need to get into government. Yes, the bill has been passed, but we need resources to actually do this. I'm running against people who are much older, who have been in the system, more experienced, wealthier. So it's actually been really, really challenging, and I'm really hoping that as time goes on towards the election, more funds are able to come in.
Unfortunately, we just have 1 minute, but we can't let you go without asking you the question about legislators' pay. We know that one of the debates is around how much our legislators earn. Yeah. What do you both think about the salaries of legislators? Because you'll be Federal House members if you win your elections. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What do you think? 30 seconds, 30 seconds.
Well, as I said, I work at the National Assembly. So following the Open NAS campaign, I think...
Are you comfortable with the current salary structure?
I don't know what exactly it is.
Okay.
Wow. Yes, so I can't actually speak on that with certainty.
Well, maybe when we get there.
Interesting. Well.
Okay, well, that's fine. But once again, thank you very, very much, you both for joining us. And Fali will actually share your bank account details for those who are out there, because we know that the cost of elections is very, very expensive.
Thank you very much.
Thank you both for joining us. And viewers, you can please support these two inspiring public leaders by donating to their campaign on their account numbers put up on the screen. And keep up doing the good work and keep inspiring other young people.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us on this show. Our viewers, the account details of these two candidates is projected on your screen. Please support them if you believe in their cause. You can be a part of this show by using the hashtag #ReadyToRun. Ready to Run is the hashtag, and we'd like to hear from you. Tell us what you think about the show. The Twitter handle is @ReadyToRunNG. @ReadyToRunNG is the Twitter handle, and Facebook is ReadyToRunNG. We'll go for a short break. We'll be right back.